All opinions expressed by the program participants are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Upscale Love for You. The program participants' opinions are based on the information that they consider from their own knowledge. No expressions or accuracy is related to Upscale Love for You.
Hello, and good evening, everyone. This is yours truly, Dr. Fabulous, and I welcome you back again this evening. We are definitely going to have a wonderful show this evening because who can come on and talk about their childhood and how it's going to affect you in your adulthood? So, with that being said, like I stated, I am the one and only Dr. Fabulous, and I'm going to send it over to the smoothest, the most sleekest man there is, Dr. Feelgood.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Feelgood here, the man with the golden voice, the latest choice, and of course, always smooth as Rolls Royce, bringing you the sexiness from the far reaches of Virginia. And come and get me, because I'm here. Stay tuned for this type of show, and I'll pass it over to my sister from the same mister, same mama, Chocolate Pearl. Go ahead, my favorite girl.
Hey, y'all, it's Chocolate Pearl. I'm back in the flesh. I'm here to rock your world with my pearly whites and my chocolate skin. I'm doing better. Thank you for all your love and messages and everything. And I'll hand it right back over to Dr. Fabulous.
All right, everyone. If you never heard of Upscale Love for You, the purpose of Upscale Love for You is formulated to entertain, educate, and facilitate self help, self love, and everything you want or wish to know about love and relationships. That includes dating, marriage, some of everything. But Upscale Love for You is to uncover hot topic and sensitive issues and the tale of singleton, or either to help you with some struggles. But if you're just seeking a wonderful conversation and to meet good people and good friends, well, Upscale Love is here to you, for you. And guess what? The good conversation will begin right here. So tonight, I'm going to start with our subject is your upbringing. How does your upbringing reflect what's going on with you in today's adulthood? It's not worded like that on our flyer, but it's the same concept. So, with that being said, I'm just going to ask those of you who don't mind sharing, what do you think are some effects of your childhood that affects your adulthood now when it comes to love and relationships? Is there anyone that would like to share that with me or with us on Upscale Love for You? Well, go right ahead, ma'am. Welcome. You got to unmute for me though, because I can't hear you.
Are you talking about me, Sandy?
I'm talking to you.
Okay, so for me, that's like a really great question. Um, my parents met in college, and my father graduated from college. They married while they were in college. My mother did not graduate from college at that point, but she did after they divorced. She did graduate from college. And that was like in first grade, second grade, or something like that. I have a detached, I'm not emotional connecting nurturing. My sons, I have two sons, 26 and 20, and they know I love them, but I'm not a like coddler. Like I'm not a bougie, I'm not that type of
Smushy,
mother.
smushy, affectionate.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm not that. I feel like it's because they're boys. And I always told myself, because I was a single mother, I'm like, I'm not raising no bitches. So I can't coddle them so much because there's so many, you know what I'm saying? And my parents didn't coddle me, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know about that huggy, lovey. Like when somebody gives me too much physical, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know what I'm saying? You got something. You know what I'm saying? What are you trying to do? Or if somebody tries too hard to try to be my, you know what I'm saying? I'm like I'm guarded. So I feel like a part of it is kind of toxic because I'm not used to, because I've destroyed connections where a man genuinely just wanted to love me. And because I did not know that love could be so freely given, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know how to receive it. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Because I felt like I had to fight you know what I'm saying? So, because that's what I saw, that's what I understood growing up, you
Mm-hmm.
know, it didn't dawn on me like, no, I'm not here to fight you. I just want to love you. Like, bitch, like, you know what I'm saying? And I created unnecessary drama and obstacles that I didn't need to. You know what I'm saying? Because a part of me felt like I don't know. I felt like my parents divorced, my dad left, and he didn't come back. Like he'll come back every 3 or 4 years and give me all these expensive gifts. Cabbage Patch Kids, Guess jeans, all these, and he'll lavish me with all this stuff and then
Mm-hmm.
disappear on me again.
So
You know
he
what I'm
was
saying?
trying to buy your love to compensate for him not being there.
Yeah.
So when a man came into your life that just wanted to freely give you some good loving, some real truth to the core, you didn't know how to accept it. And I'm going to put it on separation anxieties with your dad. Is that
Mm,
is that it?
that would be it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mhm.
Well, it's so funny this evening. I have a person, he's here tonight, and he does a podcast as well. His name is Travis Bridges. And on Sunday, I was like, is this just confirmation? And he spoke about the same thing we're talking about. And I didn't even know this was what he spoke about until he shared it with me today. So I'm going to ask him, Travis, are you available?
So,
Okay.
yeah,
I
sort of.
see
And
him.
but Anson had his hand up for a while.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Anson. Go right ahead.
Hello, everyone. How y'all doing?
Hey, Anson.
Hey, Chocolate Pearl. Uh, but the question again was, what was the question again?
The question was, or I'm going to paraphrase it, your upbringing, how you was raised or your childhood, how do you think it is affecting you now in your adulthood as far as with your relationships and how to be able to love and things of that nature?
Well, I want to thank my parents because they have shown me what relationships should be. I mean, they're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I do know what it's like to see a man and a woman go happy and do what they need to do for life's sake. So
Okay.
definitely had a great example for them to what relationships should be.
All right. Well, I appreciate that answer. If you all don't know, Anson is my cousin, and I can truly say his mom and dad, they have a relationship that's wonderful. They were friends, they still friends, and they just look like the perfect couple, even though there is no perfect couple, but they have the best time together still to this day. I'm going to jump back in and say, Travis Bridges, are you ready to expound on it? Because I was so amazed today when I listened to his podcast and I say, gosh, we're talking about the same thing tonight. And it was so ironic. He put up a picture of him when he was a little boy. and how the things that happen. I'm gonna stop talking. Go ahead, Travis. Introduce yourself to Upscale Love for You.
You on
You're
mute.
muted, Travis.
Here I am, the audio and technical guy, and I'm just jacked up. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. I just kind of joined the group. So I'm not sure where you want me to start or
I want you to start from the very beginning, because the question was, do you think as a child, your childhood actually affects you as an adult when it comes down to your relationships and how to be able to love?
Absolutely. It has no choice but to affect everything we do from the time we're born, affects us. Sometimes we don't know it until after we've had time to see what the effects are. Sometimes we may not know why certain things happen to certain, but then that's what therapy is about. Looking over some, childhood experiences to try to find out where things begin and how they begin to shape and mold. So if you are a human being and you're over the age of, let's just say 10, you've been shaped and molded by your past. And the older you get, the more you develop, what would I say, just natural defenses for whatever experiences you have, whether it's with your parents or your siblings or, loved ones, teachers. We have a way of just responding to what the psychology world, mental health would call traumas. So we have traumas that create triggers, and our personality and character traits are formed based on those traumas. And then when we have those triggers, we either respond or react. So I'll just say yes to your question, and I hope I didn't say too much, but that was a lot. So yeah, your childhood does affect your relationships with your significant other, your spouse, your job, your neighborhood, your spending habits, everything. Your eating.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Because some parents had you to eat everything off your plate when you were little. And so now you're not a nice little helper, but we can work on that. Okay, thank you so much, Travis, for sharing with us. Coming back, I'm going to ask Dr. Feelgood, do you have something you would like to share?
Technical guy, you also are
Technical
on mute.
guy, you're muted.
Yes, smarter than the equipment. I'm sorry. The biggest thing is that, as Mr. Bridges was saying, that a lot of things shape us as we grow up. And it's just not romantic relationships, but in even platonic same gender relationships. How you're raised teaches you how to treat other people, and unless you're raised in a vacuum or by wolves, you have how you treat people is a reflection on how your family treats you. If you are, in psychology, they have different roles for different children, where you have oldest, you have the middle, you have the scapegoat, you have the golden child, you have everything else. And how you react in relationships, how you react with other people is how your family treats you. If everybody treats you like dirt, chances are you're going to treat other people very well, or you're going to treat them like dirt, because that's how you were treated. And a lot of times, we have what's called, we always talk about the cycle. Cycles are cycles for a reason. We repeat. When we get stressed, we go back to what we know. And what do we know is how we were treated growing up by the people closest to us, whether they've been parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, close family, friends. We get a lot of times we treat people similar to how we were treated. And it takes a lot of therapy. It takes a lot of understanding the world, and it takes a lot of exposure to other things to kind of deprogram you from that. I call it hardwiring, because for years I thought I was not a good looking person. I always said nobody wants me, everybody hates me. That wasn't how I was treated, but that's how I received the treatment. But I always sought to be everybody's friend and wanted to be a good people pleaser, which I am today. It's hard for me to say no. And that is a weakness of mine, but I can find the backbone. We look at things from the glass that we've had, and it takes a special person to recognize what their, like you said, what their triggers are, and get ahead of them so they're not being dominated by them, or they're not messing up not only their lives but other people's lives. That's all I got, Dr. Fabulous.
Okay, I'm
Okay,
gonna stop
wait a
you
minute.
right
I
there.
want to say something. I do want to say
Go
something.
right ahead.
I honestly thought all men had this, they had to go to this class. I envision the class being I am the shit class, because a lot of men, to me, and I'm so surprised, they have a lot of confidence. They have a lot, like Biggie Smalls, black and ugly as ever, however. But they have a lot of confidence, and women thrive to that. And I used to always, I wish more women went to the same I am the shit class, because Kanye West, he had in his rhyme, the prettiest women have the lowest self-esteem. So I was like really thrown back of the gentleman that just spoke and saying that he had that lack of confidence, because there's so many men that I've interacted with who they have the outstanding confidence in themselves. It's just
Sometimes that's a cover up, to believe it or not, for their
okay.
insecurities. Some people, and that's not just men, it's women, period. Men and women. Sometimes when they overcompensate for their confidence, as they're trying to hide something within themselves, and in order to block that so nobody else can see it. Because I used to date someone similar to that, oh, I'm bad, I'm this, I'm that, but you still don't have your stuff together. You know what I'm saying? Mentally, you still holding back, and that's why you can't commit. Mentally, you're holding back is why every time you turn around, if they give you something hard to do, you don't want to do it at work, but you're supposed to be that same person with all this confidence. So it's not just men, it's women as well. But that's what they're doing. When you was explaining that part, that's what they're doing. They're overcompensate. A lot of times they're overcompensating for what their insecurities are, and they don't want you to see it. Because if I can put this big cloud in front of me, you can't see what's behind that cloud.
So I can put all this name brand things, and I could put this and this and that. Jay-Z had an interview. I do follow Jay-Z, especially as he gets older, he starts to talk, more about his perspectives. He said, remember when you were little, and if you looked at somebody for too long, they would start getting upset. Like, why are you looking at me? Why are you looking at me? They really want to fight, like throw blows, throw hands, and sometimes shoot because you're staring at them. Like, why are you getting mad because I'm looking at you? And his response was, they're getting mad because they think that you can see who they really are. And they
but that also,
they're mad.
But you also have to bring that back into our subject. That also comes back to your upbringing, how you were raised. Like my brother and I, we both, I think all of us siblings felt at one point that we were ugly, that we wasn't worthy. So we overcompensated as being a nice person, or always being there for that person and being that backbone for people, until we got older, and then we realized, wait a minute, I'm a gorgeous person. I'm a nice person inside and out. It's how you were raised. So how you were raised is how you're a lot of times reflect on your current relationships, friendships, how you raise your children, how you talk to your friends. That's back to insecurities from your upbringing in some type of way.
Okay, and I'm going to jump in here, because I wanted to say this to the ladies here. most women, and I am truly a daddy's girl to my heart. And my dad would always, Princess, you're beautiful, da 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 da. And so sometimes people think that you may be vain or it's vanity that you're selling, but it's self-confidence because as a child, I was raised that girl, you're the best thing right walking. You just like ice cream. You melt in their mouth. So therefore, what you've been trained as a child to think, oh my god, and my dad was that other Malcolm X. He would always say, when you speak to someone of another nationality, you look them straight in the eye because you're just as good as they are. You're as better than they are. So, I got all that going on from my dad. So sometimes I will say myself, like I always say, I'm very proud of who I am and I carry it very well because that's the only thing I know. Danny, you had your hand up. Come on, Danny, give me what you got because I want to hear from you this evening.
It was just a few things. Chocolate Pearl, the confidence thing and the insecurities. Cassandra too. They both made great points. Like my parents, my mother was the giver always. My father, he just did his own thing. Their relationship wasn't the greatest, but I learned a lot from them. Now, as a youth growing up, I was a little fat, chubby little boy, teased a lot until I grew into my own. Now, with that being teased and stuff, I counted with jokes. That's been my go-to since forever. I'll play the dozens with anybody and I'll make you cry. Trust me. But like I had a lot of insecurities. Like Cassandra said, when I was younger, like fashion and getting the latest, newest stuff, that was the thing to do. And it did cover a lot of insecurities I had. But as I grew older, as a teen, I grew into myself, started working out, playing ball. I grew into myself, started feeling myself. It wasn't me buying stuff for the cover up. I just felt good getting it. It's a lot. Like this subject is,
but you wind up growing out of your way of your insecurities. So now the clothes that you do buy that's expensive or designer, you actually buying it because you actually like it and can afford it.
I deserve it.
But before that happened, you felt that if you can dress really nice and expensive clothes and designer clothes, it may make you feel better or make other people see you in a different manner.
Admire you.
Yeah. So it was funny because back then, the fat boy, you couldn't wear all the nice stuff. Now you see these fat dudes in this tight, skinny jeans.
Oh, don't say that. Not the skinny jeans.
Yeah, I can't do that. But yeah,
well, you know what, Danny, as they say, if you're good on the inside, I don't care how you look on the outside, it's going to be A-okay. But I want to look over in our chat, and Kimberly shared with us, she grew up in a very strict religious family and cult-like church. My goodness. It has affected every relationship and part of her life. Now, Kimberly, do you want to talk? Do you want to voice it? Or do you want to just continue in the chat and I'll elaborate on it? Because, sometimes when children are raised in the church, and it has a lot to do with, how can I say this? I went off to college, and when you're raised in a church and you're at home and your parents are real strict, most of the time when you go off to college, what happened to the children? They get buck wild. I mean, they act like they never saw a little bit of freedom. They've never seen sunshine over your shoulder. But
I didn't do that. I'm not that person.
Oh, okay. Well, tell me, share with us.
I'm not that person. And I didn't go very far to college because the church and my parents wouldn't allow me to, so I stayed in town and lived at home, and I went to college. So I was still here. I moved away once I got a job and once I graduated from college. but I still didn't go buck wild. That's not even like, that's not my that's not who I am. I'm not a wild
Okay.
person. So I didn't do that. But just in terms of like the topic and what you guys are talking about, and I do know some girl, I mean, some of the people that I grew up with, they went completely left and they're still completely left, or, you know, things
Mm-hmm.
happen. But that's just not who I am. That was not what I saw for
Mm-hmm.
myself. So, I mean, but I did, you know, I had a baby, you know, and I'm a single mother. So I mean, but even in those choices and making that decision, and you know, the person that I was with, it was because of, I'm not blaming, you know, well, it was, I didn't have a lot of experience dating, and my interpersonal relationships, I will say, how I deal with people, I'm very standoffish until I know you, because I don't have a lot of trust. um yeah. So it has affected everything in every facet of all the relationships that I have. My friends, I have a very small circle of friends. I keep them very close.
Okay.
Um and so and I mean, my parents and I, we are good now, but
Mm-hmm.
it's taken a lot of time, a lot of therapy, a lot of talking. Um and because the church that I grew up in, like, they didn't make a lot of decisions on their own. The decisions were made from the church.
Oh,
So,
okay.
you know, in turn, I wanted to go completely opposite. So, you know, I'm a very independent person. So again, that kind of feeds into my relationships, because I don't trust anybody. And I mean, you know, I don't have, I'm growing into things. You know, I've done therapy. I'm doing therapy. So,
Well, that's
but
great,
yeah,
Kim.
it has affected every part of my relationship.
May I
Oh,
jump in real quick?
and I can understand because, you know, sometimes religion is good, faith is great, but sometimes we have to allow our children to make some of their own decisions. And I can say I was a cradle hold on type individual with my girls because I just didn't want them to make any mistakes. I wanted to lay them out the golden road, the pathway, but they had to live and learn and get a little hurt so that they would understand life. I'm going to jump down to Keith Stevenson. Keith, are you available? Keith Stevenson. Okay, well, I guess Keith is not available. Brittany, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Would you like to share with us any childhood experience that you think affected your love life and relationships as an adult?
Yes, I would say watching my parents in their marriage, and also watching my other family members in their marriages really did take a toll on not just me, but also my cousins as far as our love lives. And as I'm getting older, I'm actually turning 28 in a couple of weeks. So just being able to experience quite a few relationships and even a marriage myself, I did learn after I got divorced on how my childhood really affected my marriage, because I saw how my mom would react to my dad, and I kind of took on that role when I became married, and I didn't realize it until my ex-husband actually sat me down, and he talked to me about how he felt. And I remember he had that kind of same feeling towards my mother too, because we did have like a few issues. And he loved my mother at first, but I told him, and I was like, listen, just don't get too close, because you might see the real side of her.
Oh, goodness, not
And
the real side.
yes. And so
Someone has feedback. So if you can mute yourself if you're not talking for me. Feel good. Can you mute them for me? Thank you. Well, Brittany, sometimes we emulate our moms and like you said, after you and your husband divorced, then he spoke to you and told you some of the things, and you
Dr.
realize that
Feelgood. Hold on,
it
Dr.
might
Feelgood.
be a
Okay.
learned behavior from your mother. As
Right.
in, sometimes women that see their moms or see their aunts or whomever raised them as having a husband that was henpecked. And I know the men know what henpecked is. If a woman, that mother or that wife said do XYZ and the husband jumped really, really high at it, then that's what you call henpecked. So with that being said, I see the one and only Douglas has appeared. And Douglas, I'm going to come over to you and ask, do you think anything in your childhood affected you right now as an adult with your love and relationships? I know he took a picture to make it look like he was there, but come on and unfreeze and talk to me, Douglas.
All of my love, my peace and happiness.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give it to a mega sci-fi early. Oh,
You
I had to
say
get
you're
one joke
giving,
in.
you
hear me?
lost me, Douglas.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Well, one thing, I kept reading the question, and I was going to say, well, how did your upbringing reflect your personal relationship? One thing that I can look back on now and see, my pop died when I was 8, so raised by my mom. She was a nurse, worked weekends and holidays. So we stayed in the house and watched TV. You know, don't go outside, stay in the house. When I got married to my wife, I found out that, you know, she grew up with a mom and pop, and every weekend they went to a park or did something outside of the house. And I used to think like, damn, why she always want to go somewhere and do something, spend my money and stuff? Let's just sit home and chill. And so I can look back and see that she always wanted to do something because that's how she was raised. They did stuff, you know, where I stayed in the house. And now you kind of have to pull me out to get out the house. But boy, once I get out though, hey,
It's crack-a-lacking.
it's on and popping and skeeting.
Okay. So now I know who had the feedback. It was Keith Stevenson. Keith, are you able to talk now? Because I don't hear the feedback, but I don't see anything up there. Well, I'm going to move right along to Ricky. And is it, how do you pronounce it? Niqua? What is it?
Niqua. That's
Can
Ricky
you
and
all hear me?
Shaniqua.
Okay, I guess.
Hi. Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? How's everyone?
I'm doing well. The question on the table is your childhood. How do you think it affected you or had any effect on you now as you are being an adult with love and relationship?
I'm not really sure. I still have to think about it. I'm sitting here contemplating. I was hoping you wouldn't call on me. I didn't want to
Oh,
just
I'm
not
sorry.
say
I'm
anything.
sorry. Well, you know
That's okay.
what? We're going to table that question, and I'm going to ask Chocolate Pearl if she's, oh, in the absence of our wonderful Dr. Seductive, she had to go out of town. It's no sweet as honey here tonight, but we're going to try to accommodate. We still have her question for this evening, and I'm going to ask Chocolate Pearl if she'll jump right on in with the wonderful Dr. Seductive's question for the evening. Go ahead, Chocolate Pearl.
Okay, so her question was, what's the best relationship advice given to you by your parents?
Does anyone want to share the relationship advice your parents give you?
I would.
Okay.
Okay. I wouldn't call it advice. It's just something I remember my mother saying to me that I've had to call on a few times. And I remember it was shortly after my first crush kind of sent me packing. And my mother, of course, could see that, you know, I was kind of long faced. And she made a comment to me. I probably was 15. She said, son, you remember this, if a woman wants to be with you, no, if a woman really loves you, she'll be with you in a cardboard box. Of course, she didn't explain much, but I figured it out. What she was saying, if someone loves you, they would accept you and your weakness.
Who you are.
You
That's
have
right.
to put on any kind of airs. So she said it like she said it, meaning, okay, if you are as low as you can be, if someone loved you and accepted you, they would accept you like that. So I always looked at, you know, just not just relationships, but just friends. You know, people will accept you when they know, you know, hard things about you or some of the worst things about you. They'll accept you regardless. So that's some advice that I remember my mother saying, and it's good as gold today.
All right.
Okay. Anson, you have your
Yes.
hand up, sweetie.
Yes, I do. My daddy gave me the best relationship advice ever, and I'm stand on this to this day. I was dating someone in college, and came back home for winter break. I was very upset about the relationship. So I was confined to my father, and he told me, he said, son, just make sure that you're just as happy waking up to her in the morning as you are laying down with her at night. Touchdown all the way. All the way. All the way. Look here. I ain't never, ever laid down with someone and not be just as happy waking up to them in the morning since he told me that.
Okay. Well, thank you. Now, Cassandra, I did see you raise your physical hand, but in the future, if you look down where it says reactions, that'll allow you to press to raise your hand. That way nobody will miss you, okay? And Douglas, unfortunately, she did raise her hand physically before you put your hand up, okay? So I'm gonna let her go and then you, Douglas, all right?
That's not rude.
All right. Go ahead, Cassandra.
All right. The advice I've gotten from my parents back in the day, I don't think it was good advice. It was more so really not to be who you are. My grandmother used to tell me I laugh like a hyena. She said, she told me I laugh like a barracuda. She said, you laugh like a barracuda. Ain't no man gonna want you because you laugh like a barracuda. Because if something's funny, I'm laughing. I'm hollering from my gut on the floor and I'm laughing. Ain't no man gonna want you because you laugh like a barracuda. Okay. What else?
Well, tell me, before you go on to something else, tell me how did that reflect your current relationships? Do you still laugh like a barracuda and people look at you like you crazy, or do they care that you laugh the way you do?
You know, I've learned, I'm 47. I've learned to accept me for who I am. Because when I see so many people, we all have our issues. We all are not perfect. We all, whatever. I am no longer going to act. You got to act right. I don't know what the hell act right means. So what it is what you get. You know what I'm saying? What I'm going through is what I'm going through. You know what I'm saying? Until I get paid to act, I'm not acting. It took me to have my two sons, because my oldest son, he had a D1 scholarship, football, basketball, into college. He came home. He grew his hair out. He has some tattoos. My mother, I would never, to this day, I don't have any tattoos. You know, my mother had a strong hold on me. So my son came home from college on vacation.
Yeah, thank you.
And, you know, his hair was grown now. He had tattoos all over him, whatever. And my mother said, you know, I don't like your hair growing up and those tattoos. And my son is very respectful. And he looked at her, he said, you may not like it, but I like it. And most importantly, the women that I like, they like it.
Oh.
And I said, ooh, that was pivotal to me. And it taught me, you know, when you like that individual, you guys communicate. And whoever, the outside does not matter. You form that connection with that person and you guys work that out. It's not for no one else's understanding.
Right,
So
but do you realize that you actually, just by you telling us that story, you actually taught your son something, because how you act or how you raised him, and even though he was respectful to his grandmother, he still kept in his own ways, as you he's seen that, how you reflect on your life, and he's seen that, okay, I'm going to live my life the way I want to live my life, but respectfully, this is what I like, and people who like me like it, type thing. So his relationship is based on how he was raised from you. So it kind of trickled down as a domino effect.
yeah, I had a disconnect from my mom to raise them, honestly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's actually a part of my question that I'm going to ask later on. Douglas, tell us what you want to say.
It's been so long ago, I almost forgot. But no, some advice that my mom used to give me was, boy, keep the color wacky in your pants. And
Okay, Douglas, hold just one moment. I need for you to either come closer to your phone or your computer, because you sound distant at this time.
how about now?
That's much better. Thank you, sir.
Distant lover, lover. But no, a couple of things that my mom said was, boy, keep the color wacky in your pants, and never get with the girl that you wouldn't want to marry, and never date a woman with kids. Well, I didn't listen to her about the woman with kids thing, and I was late to the game, but I started disregarding her keep the color wacky in your pants. But I'm getting back to all that good stuff now, and actually telling my son the same stuff, but he doesn't listen to me on that issue.
And he may later on. It just doesn't sink in right away.
Right. That's it.
All right, Dr. Fabulous.
Okay, I have 2 key points that I want to make. And you know, back in the olden days, they will give you some things that you'll be like, really, mom? But my mom used to always say, always deal with the man that likes you more than you like him, or love you more than you love him. And she said that when she married my dad, she said she knew that he was going to be a hard worker. She knew he had all the characteristics of making a great husband, a father, and all that good stuff. But how about, she said, she had to grow to love my dad. And she said, any person that you're around long enough, they will grow on you and you will start to love them. And I thought that was the craziest thing I had ever heard in all the days of my life, to deal with a person that likes you more. And if you see the qualities in the individual, then take a chance, because they will grow on you. And that's what I was told by my mom. Now, my dad, on the other hand, he this is Anson's uncle, but his was like, if the finances is right, baby, work with him.
I know where you came from. I know who you came from.
That's
I'm not
it. I just
surprised.
had to say that because that was Anson's uncle who would say things like that. So my hand is down and I'm giving it on to you, Chocolate Pearl.
Okay, well, I did see Travis's hand up. Travis?
I just kind of want to jump on what she said. You know, if you think of that in the natural, so to speak, it doesn't make sense. So I understand where she's coming from, but just kind of trying to accept what maybe her mother meant. I think love has nothing to do with how you feel, as much as, it crosses over into a commitment. If you're deciding you're going to spend the rest of your life with somebody, what they look like, yeah, it's important. Who they are and how they are with you is important. And as much as, you want to find somebody decent, you want to find someone that you can commit to. And she's right. If you spend time with someone, if you make a commitment to something or someone, your commitment is more important than how you feel. So I remember her mother. Her mother was sweet. And I love Miss Ida White. Bless her heart. Rest in peace, mama. But I can relate to where she's coming from. And I always saw her and her mother and father, they loved each other. And I can see, and you have to really be deep to understand that perspective, because a commitment has nothing to do with feelings. And I don't know, I could go on. I'm mindful of time, but I get that. And I think that's cool. And if I ever get that opportunity again, I hope somebody sees me, as a commitment worthy, as opposed to what I can do or how I am, so to speak. Because if you make a commitment to something or someone, you're more likely to keep it as opposed to just how you feel, because people's looks, their status, they change.
Mhm.
So,
Well, thank you, Travis. I appreciate it. If anybody else doesn't have a question, I would like to ask. I see Dr. Seductive has arrived, and I would love for her to answer her own question. Dr. Seductive.
while we wait on her, I'm going to change my.
Seductive must be being seduced.
So I guess she was able to log on, but she probably stepped away. Okay, is anybody else? What about you, Keith? Was there anything that your parents told you?
Oh, no, you know what? No.
Hey, I'm so sorry. I was trying to find the unmute. I'm in the car.
I tell you, we have technical difficulties.
Yeah, just, you got to be smarter than the technology. Actually, I had the same advice that I think I heard Dr. Fab say. Find somebody who loves you more than you love them, and you'll grow to love them. So I guess that was pretty good. That's the advice I had.
Can I totally disagree with that?
I do.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
you're welcome
only thing
disagree.
Part of that.
Yeah, only thing about you disagreeing about that, I can understand you disagree about the advice, but it's still advice that her parents has given her.
Right.
Just keep that in mind, okay?
Right.
But go ahead and give us your disagreement.
I'm not disagreeing about that advice, but I just think there's some a cliche. Find somebody to love you more and you love them. You know what? I think two people, it's an arrivement of two people. They get to that point and they find out that, hey, they really have a lot in common and they want to move forward and make it. It don't have nothing to do with one person loving the other person more, because I think over time we learn to love each other for what we are to each other, as opposed to, I know you love me more, I don't love you as much, so I'm gonna just sit and try to let it grow. I don't think it happens that way. I think it's an organic process that, you spend time with a person, you find you have things in common, and then you find that you can build on some of those commonalities and move forward.
Okay, well, you know what? That would be a great show. And if you will email us a question or a topic, and based on that information, we will have that topic spoken on our show. So that would be great if you could do that. Upscale Love for You at gmail.com. Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Is anybody else having any relationship advice that was given to them from their parents?
I got one. I just thought about
see
one.
My hand now?
Okay, Douglas, you still had your hand up from before, correct?
Incorrect. No.
Oh, so it was up again?
Yes.
Okay, I apologize. Danny doesn't mind letting you go. Go ahead, sir.
Oh no, I was just gonna come in on Keith's statement that if you know what true love is, and love is an action word, to more or less do good for that person no matter what, And if you love them or do more action for them, you will stay in a committed relationship. That's all I was saying. That organic stuff is, it's sort of kind of good,
like
but
I
that's
stated
it.
before, that will be a great topic for another show. But today we are talking about a totally different topic. So let's try to stay on topic today.
No,
Okay,
actually not. No, if your parents told you to love somebody more, then that's on the same vein as the topic. But I understand. We can move on.
Actually, it isn't, but we're not going to debate that. All right. Danny, you had your physical hand up.
I was gonna say, my mother never really gave me any relationship advice, nor is my father. But now that I'm older, I think about it. I was talking about it. My grandma Essie, she used to always play on her 8-track. I don't know, the 45, whatever. I think his name was Junior. Mama used to say, "Take your time, young man."
Yes.
Yo, and I listen to that now. I wish I would have listened then. Like I'm sitting here listening to y'all, and I'm like, wow.
You rush to get old.
Yeah. I wish
And that was
listened
actually
then.
advice. So you felt that Grandma Essie gave you
But
that
it took
advice
too long
through
to
that
sink
record.
in. Yeah, it took too long to sink in, though.
Yeah, very
It took
good.
too long to sink in.
Take your time, young man.
Yeah.
Take your time, young man.
Yes. Well, is anybody else have an answer to that question? Cassandra, I see your hand up again.
I know. I was trying to look for that little thing.
The reaction, yeah.
Yeah, I just can't find it. I'm sorry. I think based on everything that everybody has said is although our parents gave us what they thought was correct, probably. And I think most of us have learned we have to follow what's instilled in us. If it feels wrong within our soul and our heart and everything like that, we can't do it. So play on what Douglas said, committed, you got to be committed. If you're not, whatever, if you feel you're being disrespected, if you're not happy in that marriage or that relationship, you can't control that person to make them, you need to make me happy, because that person making you happy is not their responsibility. Your happiness comes from your responsibility. So if a situation, a relationship connection, or whatever is causing distress and making you unhappy, you need to make moves to make sure your happiness is preserved. And whatever that looks like for you. So for being me makes me happy. I like being, and I don't, have any ill intent for anybody. I'm not jealous of nobody. So I want everybody to win. I'm like, let's win, let's get this together. Because I believe goals could be met faster if people work.